Hey, Najiba, you have 15 seconds to tell us who you are and what you do professionally. There we go.
I'm, I'm Najiba Abdellaoui, and I'm a senior communications advisor. I'm a poet and a writer as well. And I also used to be a performance poet many years ago.
Wow, that was even less than 15 seconds.
Yay!
Hey, you won.
Thank you. Well, we don't know yet. You have 15 seconds to tell us who you are and what you do professionally. Go.
Yeah. My name is Edward van der Vendel. I am a writer for children and young people, and that's all I do. Oh no, I also translate children's books and sometimes I mentor, like now. What do you love the most about your job? And you can choose either of your jobs.
I actually really love and enjoy finding creative and impactful solutions to communication issues, which is basically my job. And what I enjoy the most is creating meaningful stories that both appeal to people and also resonate with them. So it's all about communicating and storytelling. And what do you love the most about your job?
Um, I very much enjoy being close to enthusiasm, close to the fire, close to things that are fun, interesting, and important. So I always try to look what combines my own interest and something that could be interesting to either children or young people. So to find that middle ground, that's really exciting. The writing itself is hard. That's fun. Why did you decide to get involved with this project, with Every Story Matters?
Well, first of all, the program sounded amazing, like all the different aspects, the training, the mentoring, meeting other authors and illustrators. And also because I find inclusivity really important and saw this as an opportunity also to grow as a writer of inclusive children's stories, to learn more and to become a better writer. And why did you decide to get involved with Every Story Matters?
Well, I was asked by the organizers, and I immediately said yes because I think it's a very nice and important program, and because it's international. I think I always, already as a child, loved international plans and things. I remember that when I was maybe 12 or 11, I thought I want to be in all the countries of the world and learn all the languages. Well, I didn't succeed, but yeah, that is a very attractive thing to this program. As a child, Najiba, did you like reading? And if so, what were your favorite books?
Well, I really, 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 really liked reading. I used to read, I think, 6 books and 2 comics a week as a child. And I specifically loved reading fairy tales from all over the world. There was a series of fairy tales from all over the world, like Mexican, Irish, Japanese, Nigerian fairy tales, and many more. And I really enjoyed those. Yeah. And did you like reading as a child? And what were your favorite books?
Well, I must say that I very much liked dreaming up stories, I think, and imagining things, but not so much reading myself. I did read a little bit, but not that much until when I was a little bit older. We had this bus, like a real bus, coming into town. I lived in a very small village, and the bus was a library bus. And there was a very, very nice lady who really helped me find stories that I would like. So one of the series that I liked was called, for young people, I was 14, I think, 13, 14, was called the Rainbow series, which had nothing to do with queer things or something, but rainbow as in from all kinds of countries and so on. So I love translations from some books from Australia. And I was just in this little village and I was reading about the gum tree. The gum tree is a special tree in Australia, and I know all kinds of things about the gum tree because I read it at 13. So now a difficult question. What does creativity mean to you?
That is a difficult question. I mean, it means everything. I think for me, it really means using the world and everything in it as like a treasure chest, and creating something out of everything, but also sometimes creating something out of apparently nothing. It's like it's like being open to the world and let the world inspire you, and create something out of it. I always look at situations like a poem or something to happen. So I always have my notebook with me because creativity is an inspiration everywhere. What does creativity mean to you?
I think actually it's a way of rehearsing your life in a different way. So it's like creating parallel storylines for your own life. I think that's also why stories and books are so important for children, because they provide them with a situation that they have not been into, but they could have. And if a book is well written, if a story is well written, we become the main hero, of course. So if, as a hero, you know how to deal with evil if you are Harry Potter, or you find out still if you are Harry Potter that friendship is more important than anything, and these stories tell us that. So for me, I have always been a bit reluctant to go into the world. I like to be in my room, not so much outside with other kids. But I think I had many ways of exploring the world by reading or by imagining things. And I still do. I still think, probably you know this, when only after writing something or after coming up with the story, you kind of understand why you have been writing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's something that in the story that tells you afterwards why this was so important to you.
Yeah.
When are you most inspired?
When I'm not preoccupied with worldly matters or random things that you need to do as a human being in this world, and when I'm open to my surroundings. Yeah. And you, when are you most inspired?
To me, it's not so much inspiration, because that comes and goes. I mean, it could be during a walk or in the shower or something, but it's more, how do we get to be, and that's closer to your answer, how do we get to be as concentrated as we can be for writing? So for me, there has to be a certain emptiness, indeed, not thinking about things that I have to do, not thinking about problems and so on. So creating this emptiness, or this, being on the path towards something that needs to happen when you write, without being distracted, that is the most important.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult, I think, to reach that state in a daily world where we are watching the news, where we are thinking about things we have to do. Yeah, I think we both have that. Connected to that is, what do you do when you're not feeling creative?
I guess I try to find that stillness. So I meditate, or I go for a walk, or sometimes also read a book or a magazine to be inspired by what other people are doing. But also sometimes I look over my list of ideas that I jotted down when I did feel creative, to feel that buzz again. So it could be all sorts of things, depending on the mood.
For me, that's the same, actually. It all starts with a decision, like, okay, now I'm going to try to write. And then it could be either, doing something physical, like walking or biking, or, something like that. Or, for instance, when I write poetry, reading others, reading poems, reading poets. And a very good thing is indeed trying to reread all your old notebooks where you have scribbled something, some small ideas. Yeah, it doesn't always help. It's like treasure hunting. You don't get a treasure every day, but when you do, it's really nice. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were like 12?
A lawyer or a psychologist. And I'm actually, if I could do, go back to school again and do one other study something else, I would study psychology, because I'm still fascinated by what moves and drives people, and what it actually means to be a human being. I mean, we're all here trying to find our way, and making decisions all the time and being guided by your by various things, and also the outside world. And I would be really interesting, I think, to dive into the human brain, the human soul, and see what's happening there. Yeah.
So that's not what you studied. What did you study?
I studied international business, which is basically economics, but then English version.
Yeah.
Economics, and it was very interesting because we also had some psychology and some philosophy as well. But I actually wanted to do more. So what did you want to be when you grew up?
I had a very distinct wish, and that was to be a teacher, an elementary school teacher. I knew that when I was, I think, 12. I decided that at that age. So my father was an elementary school teacher, head teacher. My mother also worked in elementary school, so it was quite obvious. But I was already dreaming at that time of having a group of children, of having a class and being with them a whole year. And there was a certain romanticism, I think, about being in a school. And my father actually wanted me to go to university, which I didn't do, because indeed I became an elementary school teacher for 15 years, and which was fantastic, very hard work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But fantastic. Yeah, I look back on those years with a big smile. Yeah. How do you start your day?
Very straightforward, with a glass of water and a prayer. That's it.
Would that be very early? Is it always on the same time?
Well, the prayer time shifts. So the early morning prayer, it's right now it's really early. It's like around 3:30. So that's really early.
When it comes to writing or creating, do you have do you do that more early in the day or later?
It depends. I don't have a really specific time. I'm an evening person, so I tend to be more creative or more productive after 4. So yeah, that's when I write. But I can also write in the morning, or I can, yeah. It really, I do like to do editing in the morning, because then I'm still sharp.
Well, for me, starting the day, there's not a specific thing. No, I think it would just be waking up and getting breakfast, and then no, it's not interesting. And the writing almost never happens in the morning. It's like you, later in the day, after 4, mostly. But now during COVID times, it's different, but usually somewhere outside in a cafe. I really like to be in a student's cafe.
Yeah.
Lots of people, there's one specific cafe that I love where people from all over go there, all kinds of languages, lots of Asian languages, which I like to hear. And I can concentrate so well there. I don't know why. It has to do with the decision of, okay, I will go to that cafe and I will work there for 2 hours. And if I still want to go on, I will go to this other cafe, and you can't go away from that after 2 hours and having done nothing. That doesn't, my brain doesn't admit that. So I think this really helps.
Yeah.
What is your dream in life? That's not an easy question.
It's not, but I think like the short version is to create meaningful stories, like that really resonate with people. And with stories, I mean, it could be anything. It could be every possible shape or form. It doesn't have to be a book necessarily. And enable others to do the same. Because next to writing, I also give creative writing, performance poetry, storytelling workshops. And I really love enabling others not to find their voice, because I think everybody has a voice, but to amplify that voice. and to put it into writing or into some other art form. What is the best piece of advice that you can give me?
I think actually every written piece that is directed to children or to young people always has to be like the ideal combination of something that is yours, like yours, the writers, that is really close to your heart, and that resonates with the audience, with the children. So I don't think you can miss either of those two things. So for instance, if you make something that is completely yours, but you don't care about who is going to understand this, then it's more like a non-communicating artwork, which could be interesting, but more for maybe a museum or a gallery. On the other hand, if you just look at what do children like and what do I write for them, okay, then you will only write books about ponies and I don't know, motocross or something. And that is not you. There are enough books like that, enough stories. So I think children have the right to get to you, to know you a little bit and your quirks and your the things that you find important. But then in a way that it makes the story theirs.
Yeah.
So and that, it's a bit long answer, but by the only thing that you need to do then is like once you found a subject that you like, that is really yours, is to imagine the main character, a child, that could really be a child of these times.
Hmm.
And it should not be a grown-up person who just got smaller. It should be a child of these times. Is there anything in particular that you would want to know from me?
This is actually a trick question, but I love asking this question because you get unusual answers. So what is a question that nobody has ever asked you, but that you would love to answer?
Well, this is actually a mean one. I don't know, actually. I think there was once one child I was doing readings in classes, school classes, and there was one child who gave a comment. Actually, there were two. One child, I think he was 11, asked me, so what do you really write about? I know you write about this kid doing that, now I can read that in the book, but what is it really about? That's what they asked.
Wow.
And I said, but I don't know what you mean, really. It's the story, and it's this, and that, and that. And then another child said, I know what you really write about. You always write about children who have to do something, who have to be brave, and have to do something that they don't dare to do. And they really don't dare to. They are not brave enough, but then they find something and they do it.
Yeah.
I actually think he was right.
Yeah.
Now that I look back on it. So actually, my best advice would be read your stories to children after finishing them and ask the children, what do you think this really is about? Especially the word really. I think that
Yeah.
works. The other best question I ever got was with smaller children, they were 7, and they suddenly, I don't know why, they started talking about death. We were just talking about books and literature, but they were
Yeah.
completely obsessed with me dying.
Okay.
So, what happens to your books when you die? And who gets the money? Things like that. And they were very cheerful and they were completely into that. And then the best question came of one child who was very, very concerned. And she said, but who will write your books when you're dead? Yes. So I think that's the main question. Who will write our books when we're dead?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. What do you wish you had known when you first started with your career?
I was a bit afraid that it would be very ego-like. So I had the idea, oh, am I allowed to do this work? Because in the end, it's just me in my little attic room thinking up things that I think are important.
Mm.
It's actually not like that, because children's literature has the fantastic notion to it that you often have to cooperate. your work like corresponds with others, the work that is done by others, but also there's often working with an illustrator
Mm-hmm.
or with a publisher. So for me, actually, the children's literature has been very has not been lonely at all. I thought it would be like that. And also, if like we were just talking about readings, if you do readings, there's so much you can learn. It's you by reading out your own story, reading out aloud your own story, you immediately find, oh, this works, this doesn't work, and then you
Mm-hmm.
start thinking about it. So I had to uh, go to schools, and I got the opportunity to do so, and I think that really improved my writing as well. So I think to answer your question, what do you wish you had known? It's not as ego as you think. As long as you communicate with children, it is actually also far more important than you think. Don't think children's books are something that you only do for yourself. They have the chance, if you write good books, they have the chance to become the book that a child will never forget.